Hey designers, this is Kristen from Cut File Classroom, where I share tips and tutorials for designing and selling SVG cut files for Cricut, Silhouette, and other craft cutting machines. In this video, I'm going to show how to create this Wavy Retro text design in Adobe Illustrator. The cool thing about this style is that you can set it up once and still be able to come back and edit the text to create additional designs. If you want to follow along, I've included a link below where you can download the Illustrator file, which includes the Wavy Live Text effect, the completed design, and the color palette I used. I'll also include a link to download this retro font, which is called Hippie Chick and includes both a shine and a solid version. First, I'll just move these over to the side so I have a clean artboard to work with. Then I'll press T on my keyboard to select the type tool, and I'll click on the artboard and begin typing the word that I want for my design. With the selection tool, I'll hold Alt and Shift as I click and drag the text downward to create a copy below the first line. Then I'll press Command or Control D to repeat that step, which will make another copy, leaving us with 3 lines of text with even spacing between them. You could keep pressing Control or Command D to make copies for however many lines of text you want in your design, but I'm going to stick with 3 for this one. Next, I'll select all of the text, and up in the top menu, I'll choose Object, Envelop Distort, Make with Warp. In the Warp Options menu, I'll set the style to Wave. This gives me wavy text in the middle with a straight edge at the top and the bottom. If I want the entire thing to be wavy, I can choose Flag. For this design, I'll stick with wavy. I can use the Bend slider to adjust the steepness and placement of the wave toward the right or toward the left. I think this looks good around here, so I'll click OK. If I double-click on the design, it will show these straight lines, which indicate each line of text. Using the Direct Selection tool or the Group Selection tool, I can click on each line of text individually and change the color. Now here's the cool part. Let me make a copy down here. If I press T on my keyboard to grab the Text tool, I can also edit each line of text, and the warp will adjust accordingly. If you have a design like this with a word that isn't as wide as the rest of them, you could either leave it and either put a peace sign, a flower, or some other design element in this empty space, or you can use the Direct Selection tool to move the word for better placement. Another thing you can do is use the Selection tool and press Alt as you drag the sides of the bounding box to widen that line of text to match the rest. Notice how the warp adjusts accordingly as I make any changes. Now, since this is going to be a cut file, once I have the design the way that I like it, I need to expand it into vector shapes. But first, I'm going to hold Alt as I click and drag to make a copy of this live warp effect over to the side. This way I can come back to it later if I want and change the text to make new designs without needing to recreate the whole warp from scratch. Now I can expand this design into vector shapes by selecting it and heading to Object, Envelop Distort, Expand. From here, I'll make each color a compound path so this design is easy to use in Cricut Design Space. I'm using the Magic Wand tool with the tolerance set to 1 to select each color, then pressing Command or Control 8 on my keyboard to make it a compound path. Finally, I can use Simplify to clean up these extra anchor points, and there we have it. Now these Wavy Retro text designs are all ready to save as SVG files. If you'd like to learn more about designing SVG files for cutting machines, head over to cutfileclassroom.com and download my free Designer's Guide to Error-Free SVGs. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and feel free to drop any questions in the comments below. I'll see you next time.